and welcome to episode 139 of the Giddy Knits podcast. As always, I am Helen and I am coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, and this is my crafting podcast. Today is Thursday the 8th of February, and as I'm sure many of you know, this is where I sit and chat about whatever projects I've been working on between the last episode and this episode. Yeah, I think that's kind of it, isn't it? Hello! Hello and welcome to everyone. Whether you are a returning viewer and you've been watching for a number of years, or whether you are a brand new viewer, I have had a little uptick in the number of new viewers since the beginning of the year. So if you are new, welcome. I hope you enjoy the podcast and the general chaos that kind of ensues on this channel sometimes. What was I going to say? For anyone that is new and doesn't kind of know who I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns, and as I said, yeah, I'm based up in Dundee, Scotland. Yeah, that's kind of it, really. So, what have I got for you this episode? I'm going to start off with a little announcement section. I am finally going to draw those prize winners for the end of Q4 of last year for the Giddy Yarns Make-Along. I've got a finished object to share. We're going to do what's in the basket. There's quite a lot to chat through with what's in the basket this week. I've got a little bit of Yarny Goodness that's come in that I want to share as well. I'm going to do a little review of my in versus out kind of stash challenge that I've got for myself this year. A little review of January. And then I'm going to finish off with a bit of shop news. If you're wondering why I'm looking down to the right, that's where my show notes are. It's also where my cup of tea is, which I actually made before I set up for the podcast, so it's a reasonable temperature for once, rather than being far too hot. Okay, so, announcement section. Should we just get straight into it, shall we, before I ramble endlessly about all kinds of things that are not even pertinent to the podcast? Right. First off, we have the Giddy Yarns Make-Along. This is my ongoing make-along for anyone that is using any of my yarn. As long as your project uses 50% of the yarn, you can enter it into the threads in our Ravelry group and our Discord group. And I draw prizes. I draw 2 winners every quarter. And you basically get your choice of a skein of yarn from a shop, from the shop, not just any shop, my shop, or I'll give you a gift card so that you can choose a skein of yarn at a later date if that's easier for you. So we have prize winners from the end of December, so October, November, December, the final quarter of 2023. Oh, nearly got that wrong. So the first winner was Becky, who knit a wallop cowl. I will put her picture on the screen and the name of the pattern on the screen as well for you. She used up a load of my Marvellous Monthly Minis, which was a mini club I did a few years ago now, to make the cowl, and it's really, really pretty. And then the second winner is Adriana, and she knit a pair of socks. Now, I couldn't work out, Adriana, whether this post was 2 pairs of socks or whether you just made odd socks. I'm going with odd socks because I love an odd sock, so why not? But you made socks out of some of my Stephen King yarns from a few years ago as well. So congratulations, both of you. You both know how to get into touch with me. But yeah, just drop me a message on Instagram or drop me an email. Either of those things. Details are all down below the video anyway. So that is that one. We have the Bingo Crafting Challenge running at the moment as well. There won't be any prizes drawn from that until the very end of the year. But if you're curious about what that involves, then the details are down underneath the video. There's also threads in the Ravelry group and the Discord group, and again all the details will be at the top of those threads if you want to come and join us. It's been really fun seeing the number of people that have decided to join in and seeing all your progress. There's some people who are powering ahead and ticking off multiple squares, and others who are taking it more leisurely. But it is a year-long challenge, so whatever pace you take it at is whatever suits you. I think I've got 1 square ticked off on mine, I think, but I finished 2 pairs of socks. So that gets me kind of 2 towards my sock goal for the year, which is one of my things on my board as well. So that's that one. And then just a quick update on the studio. So it's all looking good. I have now received the draft lease. I started looking at it yesterday on my own and then got really panicky, so I just emailed it to Tom, my husband, and he had a little look through it and he said, don't worry, there's nothing there that's drastic, it's fine, but we're going to sit down tonight together and we're going to go through it and just work out whether we've got any questions, any bits that I don't really understand, which is a significant amount of it. That kind of stuff is not my strong point. And everything. I'm going in to see it again on Monday because most of the work should now have been completed. I think he said we're waiting on new windows at the moment. But other than that, all of the structural work inside, because they've really gutted it and pretty much rebuilt the inside. So pretty much all of the structural work inside should have been completed. So before I sign anything, I want to go in and check the work, check it's been done how I asked it to be done, check that it's still all okay for me, and everything like that. So we're hoping by the end of next week, everything should be signed off, paperwork should be signed, lease should be signed, and I should have a start date of the studio from the 1st of March, which is exciting, but still slightly terrifying. Yeah, still slightly terrifying, but it is exciting. So keep your fingers crossed for me again, because I need all of the fingers crossed, definitely. Right, before we get into finished objects, I thought I would mention what I am wearing, because I always forget. Whenever I am wearing something that I have made, I forget to tell you about it. It is really cold here in Dundee today. I have actually got my little heater going in the background in this room, but I've taken my jumper off because the only clean jumper I had today was a really scruffy old one, and I didn't really want to be on camera wearing that. So I thought I would add a shawl to keep me a little bit cozy. This is a modified version of the Cupid's Arrow wrap, which is a pattern by Ellie at Craft House Magic. It's an advent pattern, and I knit it using a Spectrum Fibres advent calendar from a few years ago. I say modified because the original pattern had eyelet lace sections, which I decided not to do because I just wanted the garter section, and I'm glad I made that decision because it meant I enjoyed knitting it more. And it's lovely and squishy and cozy. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. And it is doing a good job of keeping me a little bit cozier. Right, shall we get into finished objects? Because I do have a finished object. Now, I will admit, I literally finished these last night because I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm so close to getting them finished, and I know I'm podcasting tomorrow, so I'm gonna get them done. But I finished my rainbow socks. So these are knit out of some Knit Picks Felice yarn, which I don't believe you can get anymore. They've stopped doing it. They do a yarn now called Felicini, which is like narrower stripes, but they seem to have stopped doing Felice, which is a bit of a shame because it's quite a nice commercial striping yarn. So yeah, this is, what colour was it? I think it was called Cloudy with a Chance of Rainbows. Yes. So there we go. There's the yarn band. It was Cloudy with a Chance of Rainbows. Felice yarn is always superwash merino and nylon. Just double checking that on the label. And I added in just some scraps of a grey that I had that was like, it's a grey, I think I dyed this myself. It's a grey with some speckles of kind of purples and blues in there, which I don't think is really coming across on the camera, but it made me think of dark storm clouds, so that's why I picked it. But otherwise, I just did the rest of it all in the same colour. Now, I didn't follow a pattern for these, but I did add a bit of a pattern to them. Let me pop one of the socks down a second so I can show you what I did. Basically, I knit a vanilla sock, so I cast on my usual 68 stitches, I did 2x2 rib, but then when I was working down the leg of the sock, instead of just knitting straight, when I got to the colour change row, I slipped, basically every 4th stitch, I slipped so that the previous colour is a slipped stitch, and I did that for 2 rows, so the slip stitch goes over 2 rows. I think I did I knit one and then I slipped one and then I slipped every 4th stitch and then I knit 4 at the end, just because of how the numbers worked out with me doing 68 stitches. But it's a relatively easy kind of little thing to kind of work out by yourself. And I only did it on the front of the sock, but I did it down the front of the foot and down the front of the leg. And it just adds a nice little texture, a little pattern. I always think it's quite fun on self-striping to have something like that you kind of do at the colour change. So yeah, no pattern, but just a little thing I improvised. So there we go. We have a finished pair of socks. I have weighed these. They were nearly 70 grams. So that is something to add to my outgoing yarn list, I guess, for February. I shall pop them just there. Okay, that's the only thing I have finished though. But I have quite a lot to talk about in terms of what's in the basket. Okay, so what's in the basket? There is a whole lot of stuff to talk about. That is just the leftover yarn from the rainbow socks, so that can go over there. I'm not even sure, I've not rejigged the basket this week, so I'm not actually 100% sure I'm talking about everything that's in it. We'll find out as we go through, I think. But first off is my Soundwaves cowl, which I've actually added a fair amount to. I've been reaching for this as my kind of D&D knitting recently, so it's had a good little chunk added to it. I'm on day 22, I think, so I've got 2 more colours to do after this colour that I'm working on. No, I think I'm on day 23. Let me double check. Let's see, how many are left in this bag? Yes, no, look, there's only 1 left in this bag. So that means I have just started day 23. So I am on the penultimate colour. So this is not far off being finished. I'm not sure whether it will get finished this month because we've not got a lot of D&D on this month because my brother, we play quite a lot of D&D, but we play on a Saturday, which is one of the sessions that I tend to knit during with my brother. But my brother is away this weekend, we're away I'm away for the next 2 weekends after that. So I don't think we've actually got another session in February. And the same with our Friday session that we pay, which is a group of crafters as well as a few extras, I guess. We play that every other week, but unfortunately I think the next session is coinciding with when we're away. So again, I won't have any knitting time on that. But maybe I'll try and just pick up. It would be nice to get this finished in February. It would be a good chunk of yarn to get finished. A good big project because it's fairly weighty. I mean, it's 24 10-gram mini, so that's going to be roughly 240 grams of yarn in one project, and I'm not far off it, so maybe I'll make this my knitting and reading project and try and reach for it a little bit more often. Anyway, I've rambled again. Let's actually show you where it's at. You've seen this a lot, so I'm sure most of you will know the pattern and what I've said about it before. So the pattern is, I'm just trying to untwist it slightly, is the Soundwaves cowl by Ellie Jones of Craft House Magic. The yarn I'm using, and also the bag it was in, are all by Ellie as well. This was one of her advent calendars. Now, the official pattern looks like this. It's a tubular cowl, and it has this chevron zigzag kind of pattern on it. I discovered quite early on that I kept making mistakes. And I knew that it was frustrating me. I was finding that I wasn't keeping up with the pattern. I was having to tink back quite often because I kept making mistakes. So I decided after about 10 colours, something like that, that I would switch to just knitting it plain and just going round and round and keeping it simple. And I'm glad I've done that because, as you can see, I'm now almost at the point of finishing it. And I feel like this would definitely have been one of those projects that very easily didn't get finished if I'd carried on with it. Now, there's nothing wrong with the pattern. It is gorgeous. It's so well written. It's really clear. It's me that's wrong. I just needed something more mindless and more simple. Yeah, basically. Especially while I was playing D&D and things like that. But yeah, we're getting there. We are nearly there. Only 2 more colours to finish. I think last time I shared this with you, I've been good. I put progress keepers on. So last time I shared it with you, I was just down here. So I've done a good couple of colours since then, nearly 3 colours. And looking at where I am, I think I've only done a round or so with the new colour. So yeah, 2 colours and this will be finished finally. I've thrown the yarn on the floor and now I'm all tangled up. I shall move that progress keeper quickly because otherwise I know what I'm like and I'll forget to move it and then I won't remember where I was when I last showed it to you. But hopefully the next time you see this will be as a finished object and you won't need the progress to show you how much I've done. So that is one project. Then what else do we have? That I'm going to wait on both of those because they are newer projects and I want to talk about those in a minute. What's in this one? Ah, yes. So this is a lovely little project bag, lovely little Christmas project bag from Bertie and Poppet. They've got a label, that's what I was just looking at inside for the label. I know I'm very bad at talking about project bags quite often. I mean, quite often the project bags I'm working with are from the little grey girl. That's probably who I have the most project bags from. But I do have other ones as well. And this is a lovely Christmas one from Bertie and Poppet. And this one has got a half finished object in. I have a couple of half finished objects. So what did I do with my sock blockers? I left the rainbow socks on them. I finished the first sock of my, what I'm calling in my head, my week 1 December socks. So this is yarn from Hannah at the Corner of Craft. It is from her weekly advent calendar that she did in 2023. And this was the week 1 skein. And as I said, I finished the first sock. So I did keep these ones relatively simple. I did vanilla sock mostly down the body. The only thing I did that was a little bit of detail was that I put a mock cable rib on the rib at the top, which I really like. It just added a little bit of interest, a little bit of detail, something a little bit different, but the rest of the sock was really simple. This yarn has pulled slightly, as you can see. We've got kind of spiral of the purple coming down it. But I actually really enjoyed that with this colourway. It worked really nicely. And I love the purple that was included for the heels and toes. So we have one. I have been good with this one. I have cast on the second sock. Oops. Hang on, I'm all tangled up with the yarn. I have cast on the second sock. And I have finished the rib. So this is now just ready to go round and round and down the leg. Do you like my little Valentine's gnome needle stoppers? I don't know whether I've got any left in the shop at the moment or whether they've sold out, but they were in the little February shop update that I did at the beginning of February. I had to steal a pair for myself because they were just too fun. So that is those ones. So yeah, half finished object, but the second sock is cast on and is on the go, so that's good. Let's pop those in there. Then while we're on the subject of socks, let's grab the other half finished object that I've got. And that is my Christmas Eve cast on socks. So as you'll know if you've watched the last few episodes, I am knitting a variation. It's all a variation, isn't it? A variation on the Evergreen Socks by Madeline Gannon. And I say a variation because I've only done 1 Christmas tree at the top of the leg rather than doing 4 Christmas trees all the way round. But I have finished the first sock. So again, I just did 2x2 rib. I then did the 1 Christmas tree and I did it on the right hand side of the leg. So this is going to be the right sock. And then on the second sock, I'm going to do the Christmas tree on the left hand side of the leg. So it will be the left hand sock. So yeah, the yarn is, what was it called? Pine Needles and Tinsel from Knit Me Sane. It is a gorgeous sparkly Christmas yarn, and I've paired it with, this was just a random bit of leftover mini actually. It wasn't even a full mini, it was a partial mini that I had in my stash I think it's one I dyed for something. I'm not really sure, but it worked perfectly. So happy days for that. So yeah, that is one sock finished. I haven't been good, and I haven't cast on the second sock of this one yet. So I do need to get on and do that. Yeah, I do need to get on and do that. What else have we got in here? So, oh yes, my gnome, my December gnome. So this is the, I've got a piece of paper that might tell me. Snow Matter What. That was the name of it. The Snow Matter What, December Mystery Gnome event. So you had the snowman, which is finished and is up here. And then also Mr. Knightley, who is, stay there, the kind of gnome rather than the snowman. And I have started him. I have completed his hat with his brim there, and I have started working down the body. So he is now on the needles, which he wasn't before. So progress has started on him. I'd really like to get him finished. I don't know, I was going to say before East Anglia, but actually I'm not sure whether I've got enough of the kits left in order to make it worthwhile taking them to East Anglia anyway, but I'll have to have a little look and see. But yeah, he is on the go. So that is that one. Then, oh, the yarn for that one is my own yarn. I was one of the official dyers for the mystery knit along. So I think I picked my heritage kit, which was one of my kits for the gnome. What else have we got in here? So my mittens I haven't done anything with, so I'm not going to show you those. I think I'd finished the first one. I haven't cast on the second one yet. So that is still on the cards and needs to be done. One thing I have made progress on, this bag is ancient. It's also clearly been sat on by a cat, covered in black cat hair. This bag I've had for a good long while. This one is from Mrs. S Creations. I don't know if she still makes bags, or I have a feeling she started dyeing yarn. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But it's a bag I've had for a good long while. And it is containing my So Faded sweater, which I think I've done a fair amount on since I've not picked it up this week, I don't think, but I had done a fair amount on it. I put in a progress keeper to mark, did I put in a progress keeper to mark? Maybe I haven't done that much work on it. I did put in a progress keeper. I've done about 1 inch, I think, since you last saw it. Oh, there we go. No, there. So I put in a little rubber ducky as a progress keeper to mark my progress. So the last time I showed this to you, yeah, I was here. So I've not actually added as much as I thought I had, which is a shame. But I shall get on with that, definitely. So yeah, the So Faded sweater, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I am knitting it out of some yarn from Pixie Yarns, which came in a pack of 8 50-gram skeins. As you can see, I'm kind of striping them. So there were 4 pinks and 4 blues. And I am just striping them all the way down the jumper. So I'm nearly at the end of the second blue section, and I will go back into the pinks and carry on that way, really, basically. So that is that one. I thought I'd done more on that. Oh well. Oh well. Then, right, okay. Then I have started 2 new blankets. Now, I know it's a bit ridiculous that I've started more blankets because I don't think I've added them to my list. I haven't added them to my list yet. I have a list on my wall just over there of all the blankets that I currently have in progress. And on that list, there are 8 blankets. And I have started 2 more. Yeah. So the first one, which is living in a lovely project bag, my Soot Sprites project bag from Coffee and Yarn Cakes. I didn't show you this one either. See, I'm terrible at showing you yarn bags. My gnome is living in this one, which is also from Coffee and Yarn Cakes. I know it's a Christmas bag, but it has a Christmas project in it. So Christmas projects are allowed to stay in Christmas bags until they're finished. That's the way I work it. So my Advent cowl is in a Christmas project bag. My December socks, which were an Advent colourway, are in a Christmas project bag. And yes, my December Christmas gnome is in a Christmas project bag. So as long as the project is related to Christmas in some way, it can stay in a Christmas project bag until it's finished. But anyway, soot stripes. Soot stripes? Soot sprites. Now, if you are trying to avoid spoilers for my Rainbow Yarn Club, then maybe skip to the number I put on the screen now, because I'm going to show January's colours. And I know there's a number of you that are doing having it held and shipped not until the end of March. So yeah, if you don't want to see it, then don't. But I know most people should have received theirs by now. But I have started a blanket with mine. I am doing a granny ripple blanket. Just thinking there's no crochet hook in here, but that's because I stole it for the other project. I am doing a granny ripple blanket, and here are the first 4 colours added into the blanket. It's not massively wide, but it's just going to be a nice kind of lap blanket for the sofa. That's the plan. So I'm using the 20 gram DK minis, and I'm managing to get, it's a bit annoying because I end up with enough left over that I feel like I should be using it up, but it's just what I managed to get. I'm managing to get 2 rows out of each of the 20 gram DK minis, and yeah, that's kind of it really. And then the final colour is that one there, which is the next colour to go in. I wonder whether the light will show you. Yeah, it actually doesn't look too bad in this light. You can see that one is more orange than the previous one. So we started with those burgundy colours, went through brighter reds, and then into a kind of orangey red. And then February we're heading into kind of more orangey colours. So that is that one. I've not done badly. 4 colours are into it. I've just got 1 more colour to do. I'd like to get that done before I've dyed up the February club. That would be great, and then I can hopefully try and keep up with it as the year goes on. And then the other new blanket I've started, this actually kind of comes under a bit of Yarny Goodness as well, but I was so excited when they arrived, I just caked them up straight away, so you don't get to see them in the skein. But I subscribed to Suzanne of Green Lambkin Yarns Secret Treasure Box Yarn Club this year. So that is 4 DK minis, 4 20 gram DK minis each month. And the idea is that they're all like special precious jewels. So you get lots of kind of different colours and things like that. And I decided I'm going to make a crochet blanket out of it. Now I'm hoping I can get 2 squares out of each mini. I'm a little bit worried because it's literally yarn chicken. Like, I use up pretty much every single gram of mini to be able to do it. So there might be a month or a mini skein which is a little bit short, not by Suzanne's fault, just the way they sometimes come from the supplier, and I may struggle to make it, but we'll make decisions if that happens. But basically I've done 1 square as a solid granny square, and then I've done 1 square as a normal granny square in each of the colours. Well, 2 of the 4 so far. So that is one of the colourways. Those are another one of the colourways. So pretty. I don't know if the sparkle's coming across. I went for the sparkle DK, and it's gorgeous. And then we also have that one there, and then finally that one there as well. So yeah, that's my plan with that. What I'm thinking is, if I do end up with a few that I can't get, I'm going to start with the solid granny, and then if there are a couple that I can't get a normal granny square out of, what I'll probably do is I might do a smaller square or something. We'll work it out, and then these might end up just becoming a cushion cover or something like that, and then these end up in the blanket, or we'll see what happens really. I might just make them all up. If there's a few missing, there's a few missing, but I still manage to make the blanket work. I don't know. We'll find out at the end of the year. But that is a completely me issue and not Suzanne's Minis in any way. I am just pushing my luck on the amount of yarn I'm using for my squares. So yeah, that is that one. So that is all the knitting and crochet stuff that I've been working on, I think. I'm just checking my list. Christmas Eve socks, my week 1 December socks are the Corner of Craft ones, my So Faded, my Soundwaves cowl, Advent gnome, rainbow blanket, secret treasure box blanket. That is it. I have got one other thing in the basket though, and that is my cross stitch. Now this, oh actually no, it is a Christmas project now. I was about to say this is a Christmas project, this is a project that's living in a Christmas bag that isn't a Christmas project. But my new cross stitch is actually a Christmas project, so it's all good. But yeah, I'm working on the Caterpillar cross stitch winter, was it called the Winter Wonderland, I think it is, stitch along. And I have finished the Christmas tree. And I've started working on some of the lake that's round the Christmas tree. So Christmas tree is all done, all finished. And yeah, I'm going to start a little bit of the lake and then go from there. And maybe I'll go on to some of the buildings and things like that. We will see how we go, but that's a good start. There is a Christmas tree on my fabric. So yeah, progress has been made. Right, that is now all of the crafting projects that I was going to talk about. So I was going to do a quick review of my in versus out for January. So I started my little notebook. This is my really simple kind of knitting journal that I decided to do for myself. I'm just doing stickers to make it pretty, bit of washi tape here and there. So as you may have seen, in January I had 300 grams of yarn come in. I purchased yarn, I bought, now obviously this doesn't count like yarn that comes in for the shop because that would be ridiculous. I'm also not counting anything that I keep to use for samples. So basically I'm not counting my own hand-dyed yarn, it's yarn that I have purchased. Possibly yarn I'm gifted, if I'm gifted any yarn that would get added to this as well, but like that kind of thing basically. So yeah, I had 300 grams come in January, but I had a good knitting month in January. I finished 3 projects. I finished my Mild Magic shawl, I finished a scrappy Advent cowl, and I also finished a pair of socks. So in total, I had 510 grams go out. Now I'm doing it by the weight of the finished object. So although the socks used a 120 gram sock set, they actually only weighed 60 grams as the finished object. So that's what I went with for the weight, if that makes sense. So yeah, so a total of 510 grams out and 300 grams in gave me a 210 grams negative, I guess. So I've had 210 grams more yarn go out than I have had come in. So yeah. And then just so you can see what my little knitting journal is, I then have, so I have the page which is the in versus out, and then I have another page which is just what I've finished basically. And again, I've stuck a load of stickers on it just to make it pretty and make me happy. So they're all the things I finished in January and the weights. Yeah, so that's January. January was good. So far in February, it's not quite as positive in the in versus out, but I've got 210 grams of buffer from January, so we're all good. It's not a bad thing. Right, Yarny Goodness. I did have some Yarny Goodness to share with you. Now, interestingly, this is actually all from the same dyer, but they came in 2 different packages. So first of all is actually the 300 grams that came in January, but it came in after I'd podcast, so I didn't have a chance to show it to you. But I ordered some yarn from Wildflower Yarn, and they had a sale in December, and I ordered some yarn from them. So I got these 3 gorgeous skeins from her, and let's see if I can remember what they are. So this one here is Mermaid Cove, gorgeous turquoises with lots of lovely speckles. These are all on a sparkle base. This one is Mermaid Hair. go. And then finally, this one is Ethereal Glade. Just so pretty. I have no idea what I'm doing with these, but they're pretty and I love them and they make me very happy. And then the other thing that came in, it literally arrived today. So if you have ordered the Yarn Club from, Wildflower Yarns, is it Myths and Legends it is? I can't quite remember. Then this one, basically, this is the image. If you have ordered this Yarn Club and it hasn't arrived to you yet, then skip this bit. Words failing me. So yeah, I've signed up for the year of this Yarn Club because I wanted to go with somebody different, somebody I don't have a lot of yarn from. And I really liked the images and things that she was using. So this is the image from January, which was inspired by sirens. And isn't that such a gorgeous image? I love that you get a little photograph actually of them, because I'm thinking I might actually do something. If you get one of these every month, I might actually do something with them. Maybe create some kind of, I don't know, big collage or a picture or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is the yarn. I'm trying to work out how to show it. There we go. I move the label round to the back. So this is the yarn. Isn't that pretty? You can definitely see how it represents the picture and the image. It is so, so pretty. This one I went for the, I think the merino sock. I think for the rest of the year I've gone for the sparkle sock. Because I do love a bit of sparkle. But I think what I'm going to do is these are going to become socks at some point. I've got some other yarn clubs that I want to knit up first, so I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to put these all aside throughout the year, and then next year I'll make some decisions as to what I'm going to make with them. But I think it's going to be just a whole host of cosy, fun, mythical socks. You also got a couple of other little extras with the club, which was lovely. You got a tea bag. There is a lovely sticker. I love a sticker. As you can tell by my knitting journal. Look, you can just about see yourself reflected in the sticker there. So lovely sticker, and then also a couple of little, I don't know, are they kind of resin? I'm not 100% sure, but they're super pretty little progress keepers. Really pretty. They're kind of glittery as well. Okay, so that was my Yarny Goodness. Now, the final thing I wanted to talk about was a bit of shop news. And this might actually be a fairly large section because I wanted to talk about some bits and pieces that are currently in the shop because I didn't manage to share them on the podcast before I put them online. And I know last year I was talking about doing just little shop update chats, and I planned to do that, but I just ran out of time. Everything has been a bit too busy, so I didn't quite manage to get that recorded. But then I have also got a brand new collection launching on the 15th of February. So I wanted to share the colourways, or some of the colourways that will be heading into that as well. So we'll start with the current stuff that's in the shop. So beginning of February, I had a shop update. It included 3 new sock sets, a fun mini bundle, and then what I'm calling my mini bouquets, which will become a regular thing. I'm planning to have kind of 4 of them throughout the year. So, sock sets, we had, as you can see, there's a fair amount of these in the shop. These are the 3 colours. So we had Opposites Attract, which is this gorgeous blue with speckles of pinks and purples. I love this purple it's paired with, so pretty. So that is Opposites Attract. It's available on 120 gram sock sets and 70 gram sock sets. Then there is Slow Burn, which is this one here. I went for names that were kind of romance themed because it's February, but also still literary themed in terms of books. So we went for kind of different tropes that are commonly found within romance novels. So we had Opposites Attract, we had Slow Burn. This one's lovely and pretty and delicate. So that is Slow Burn. And then we had Forbidden Love as well, which is this one here. So that is Forbidden Love. So there's plenty of those in the shop at the moment. We then had the Enemies to Lovers mini bundle, which was this one here. So a lovely kind of selection of pinks and purples in a fun mini bundle. I'm so tempted to steal some of these to cast on some scrappy socks, like something like the Love and Patches socks by, is that Danielle George? I think would be really pretty in these. So I'm very tempted to steal a bundle of these. And then finally, the bouquet minis are these ones here. So the bouquet minis are something completely new. Like, I've always done sock sets, I've always done normal mini bundles, but these are something that are completely new to the shop. So the idea is that you get 10 gram minis. So there's 100 grams of yarn here, and they all kind of go together out of a palette. So I picked an image. In this case, it was an image of a wedding bouquet, and I just lost power. We'll keep recording because my phone's run by battery, but unfortunately we now have no lighting at all and my heater's gone off. So yeah, not quite sure why. Oh, hang on. Can you hear everything turning back on again? That was a short little 2-second power cut. Right, I'm going to turn this light back on again. Hang on a second. There we go. We have power again. That was slightly odd, and yeah, welcome to the chaos. Anyway, so I had a picture. I picked 10 colours out of that picture and I dyed them all up to create one bouquet of minis, which would be gorgeous in all kinds of things. I mean, I'm actually contemplating again stealing one of these and turning it into a Battenberg cushion. I've got one cushion that I made using the Battenberg blanket pattern, but I think something like this would be really pretty. You could have squares made up in all of these and then paired with undyed squares would make for a really, really pretty kind of cushion. You probably wouldn't have enough in one of these bundles to do a blanket, but you definitely would in order to do like a cushion cover or something like that. And I just think they'd be super, super pretty in something like that. So that's those ones. Right, now I need to grab the yarn for the collection that I'm going to be launching. Okay, so I have a brand new collection launching on the 15th of February. It is all inspired by Peter Pan. It's been so much fun coming up with the colourways and picking out the characters that I'm going to represent, and all of that kind of thing. It's been really, really fun. So I hope you love it as much as I do. The pre-order, it's going to be a pre-order collection, so I'll be sharing the colourways online and stuff next week. Obviously you're about to see them here. But then I'm going to have pre-orders open from the 15th of February until the end of February, because I'm actually away for most of the second half of February, as it happens. I'm actually going down to help Gem, the little grey girl, vending at Unravel. So if you're coming to Unravel, come and say hi. Come to Gem's stall and say hi. I will be there helping her for the weekend. But because I'm away, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to leave it open until the end of February. And then hopefully the aim is for it to ship. I'm not 100% sure at the moment. The aim is for it to ship end of March. I want to say I was going to go to 2 weeks into April, but the first 2 weeks of April are school holidays, and I'm away for part of that as well. So that's just not going to work. So it'll probably be the end of March. That's kind of, hopefully, assuming everything in the studio goes well and smoothly and I get everything in and I can get dyeing straight away, then hopefully it will be the end of March. But let's show you the colourways, shall we? We will start with Wendy. So we have Wendy Darling, who is a lovely mix of pinks and blues with some lovely little delicate speckles on there. It's a really pretty colourway. Then, of course, we had to have Peter Pan, who, of course, had to be greens. So Peter Pan is a lovely speckled green colourway. There's a real mix of greens in here, which I really like. So you've got some like really bright kind of limey green speckles, but then you've got some darker teals, and there's even a few kind of turquoisey bits in there as well. So that is a really pretty kind of green colourway. It's not too bright, it's not too dark, but I really like that one. So that is Peter Pan. Then we have Captain Hook. So Captain Hook is a mix of grey, so it's a grey base with speckles of red, black and blue. I wanted the red and black because that made me think of like his outfit, like the traditional kind of stuff you think of with Captain Hook in like pirate, that kind of red and black pirate outfit. But then I wanted the speckles of blue in there to represent the fact that he's a pirate, he's on water, and I think it came out really nicely. So that is Captain Hook. And then we have Tinkerbell. So Tinkerbell is another gentler colourway, but there's quite a lot of colourways in Tinkerbell. So the lighting in here is not doing it justice. But she's got a mix of purple and turquoise as the base, but there are pops of bright green in there. There are pops of purple and pink and blues. And all kinds of speckles. There's even a few little navy speckles in there as well. So that is Tinkerbell. And then there is, oh my goodness, I've forgotten the name of this one. Is it Second to the Left and Straight on Till Morning? That might not be the exact quote. So bear with me if I've got that slightly wrong, but that's what I'm calling this one. Second to the Left and Straight on Till Morning, which is basically just a night sky is what we were going for. Flying over the water, the night sky. So it is a gorgeous kind of tonal blue speckles. I love this one. I'm really pleased with this one. There is one other colourway, one other speckled colourway, which didn't quite come out how I wanted it to. So I am actually going to put that back into the dye pans again and add some more speckles. I didn't quite speckle it as heavily as I could have done with, and I skeined it up this morning and I was a bit disappointed with it. So I'm going to re-dye that one. So that one, but that'll be Neverland, which will be coming. And then I've also dyed some solids, which go with some of the colourways, but I'm also going to be releasing them kind of as solids in their own right as part of the Peter Pan collection. So we have got, I'm going to get the names the wrong way around now, don't we? Well, we'll start off with Smee. This is Smee, which is a real kind of, it's a grey and blue. So it's a grey with over-dyed with blue, so it's kind of glazed with blue. It's really pretty, but it goes really nicely with Captain Hook because of the blue speckles in Captain Hook. It also works quite nicely with a lot of the colours, to be honest, which is quite nice. It even goes really nicely with Tinkerbell as well. So that is Smee. Then we have Mermaid's Lagoon, which is this one here, which is just a gorgeous pale turquoise, which pairs beautifully with Tinkerbell. And actually I'm going to be doing sock sets of these colourways as well. I just haven't dyed up the minis yet, but the plan is that these colourways will be the minis for the sock sets. So Captain Hook will have Smee with him, Mermaid's Lagoon will have Tinkerbell, Peter will have, is this John or Michael? I can't remember which one's John and which one's Michael, with the blue or the green. But there is a green. This is a green. Oh, that's coming out terribly on my screen. It's definitely not doing that colour justice. So yeah, these are definitely ones you're going to need to look at on the photos. In fact, Peter Pan doesn't come across very well either. But yeah, that is John or Michael, potentially. Can't remember which is which. We'll find out when I put them on social media and on the website. But I love this colourway. It is a green, but it has got some kind of little hints of almost a turquoise in there. It's a couple of different colours of green mixed together. Then we have the other one that's either John or Michael, because I can't remember which way around I did it, which is a gorgeous tonal blue. Again, it's got little hints of turquoise in there. I don't know if it shows up better there. It's really hard trying to get the lighting right for this. But that one will be paired with Second to the Left. But it also works really well with Wendy as well. And probably Tinkerbell too, to be honest. Yeah, works nicely with any of them. And then finally is Thimble, which is this one here, which is just a gorgeous tonal purple. It's really beautiful. And again, that one is designed to pair beautifully with Wendy. But it also works, to be fair, it also works really nicely with Tinkerbell as well. So yeah, they all work quite nicely together. So they're the main colourways. And I will have the speckled versions of all of those main colourways, including Neverland, available as mini sets, as I always do. But then I couldn't resist putting together a crazy, fun, chaotic mini bundle, which was inspired by the Lost Boys. So the Lost Boys is a 5-colour mini bundle, and there are just 5 different really fun colourways in here, which just represent the kind of chaos of the Lost Boys. So that is those ones there as well. Oh, there we go. You can see them quite nicely there. So those will be available as kind of a separate mini bundle, if that makes sense. So yeah, that is the Peter Pan collection so far. I'm annoyed I don't have Neverland to show you, but I could show you the one that wasn't very good, but no, I won't. It's going to be quite a bright, fun colourway. I think you need it to add a bit more brightness to the collection. So yeah, I'm going to try and dye that one up again tomorrow. But yeah, I will be doing reveals next week, kind of going into next week. Obviously a newsletter will be going out about it and all of that kind of stuff. But the pre-orders will be open from the 15th of February right up until the end of February. So plenty of time to make your decisions and things like that. But yeah, that's the new collection. I hope you're excited about it. Right. If you have got this far in the video, if you've made it all the way to the end, then this week, leave me... Is there a pirate ship emoji? There's got to be a pirate ship emoji. Do you know what? Leave me some kind of pirate emoji, whether that is a pirate ship, whether that is a skull and crossbones. I don't know what else there is in the way of pirate ships. Anything that makes you think of Peter Pan, leave me that emoji in the comments under the video. Yeah, and see now, I probably won't see you very soon. I suspect the next time I actually sit down and record a podcast is probably going to be late March, because I will not have time in the rest of February. I'm away for a significant amount of February due to various different things. I should hopefully, fingers crossed, be getting the studio from the beginning of March. I've got East Anglia at the beginning of March. So it will take me a little bit of time to get the studio set up, get a space set up where I can actually sit down and record. So I suspect we'll be looking at the end of March, kind of late March, before I actually sit down to record another podcast, which is a shame, but it is exciting. I will be sharing, once I get the studio, again, fingers crossed, I will be sharing lots of stuff about it. I'll be sharing lots of photos. I will try and do some kind of vlog or video when I first get in there, and a bit of progress kind of throughout. So hopefully some of that will be popping up on the YouTube channel in the meantime. But yeah, thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you all again towards the end of March. Bye.